Um, I want to give an update real quick to these beanbags because I remember last time when we started the episode last week, we were trying to figure out how to refluff them, which I still haven't figured out, but I think it's been refluffing itself over the course of the week because even last night, because I keep it in my living room because I don't have enough space in my bedroom for it.
I do too. I also keep it in my
regularly
living room. You mean bedroom? You mean studio?
You mean Steve? But yeah, and it was refluffed out of nowhere. And honestly, bro, this thing is dope.
Yeah.
Delaney
and I were watching.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Delaney and I were watching a movie the other day, and we were taking turns sitting on the beanbag.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, it's fluffy, it's comfortable. You kind of just sink into it, and you can sit in it in so many different positions. Obviously for the podcast, we kind of sit a little more upright, but you can lay on it. You could even get your whole body on it if you kind of cuddle up on it, which is really nice.
Yeah, if you do the armadillo.
I think the perfect setup though would be if you had one more and then you sat on it and flattened it and then you put it across from you and you had it as a little footrest. I think that would be the perfect little invention right there.
So what we do in my living room is those. They're basically cubes of storage where it's you open the lid and then, but they're just a box basically, but it's cushioned on all sides. So we'll be laying on it and then we'll put our feet on that. So it's higher than the beanbag, or it's probably where my knees are. So it's higher than the beanbag, but it's still it still feels cool whenever you're just watching a movie.
Yeah.
Sorry
definitely.
Waving my foot in front of the camera.
Sorry for the
not for free. I got socks on.
Cool. Well, welcome back to the podcast, guys. We appreciate you tuning in this week to the Catchin Up podcast. If you forgot from last week, I'm Tyler.
I'm Gabriel.
And it's exciting to be back for the second week, man. I'm having a good time on the podcast. It's been refreshing, I feel rejuvenated. Because we took, me and Gabe, we probably took the first break since when we had our previous podcast, we literally went back to back to back. And if we ever had, time off, per se, for, Christmas or, if we were traveling or whatever, or if we took the month off for a season break, we would be editing and, discussing new ideas and just kind of figuring stuff out still. So we never really had a full break. So this past time, when we took the break between restarting a new podcast, I think we took about, I want to say a month and a half off or so of no editing. We talked a little bit obviously about, starting this podcast up in the logistics, but not much because we kind of made the decision and then we're okay, we'll figure it out, when it comes time. But it was really honestly nice to not have to, be worried about recording every week and being on time and being set up and worrying about editing and getting a post up every day. So it was a really nice break. But now, getting back into the swing of it, it is fun. It is something that I do genuinely enjoy doing. So it's nice getting back into the swing of it, and especially with the setup we have now, it's a lot more. I look forward to it a lot more, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, after last week, this week, setting up the actual setup was way easier.
Yeah.
Once I practiced it once. But yeah, bro. I'll admit, because my work schedule is a little different now, I did prefer. The only thing I preferred from before was I used to always have the days we record off. Now I record and then I go to work after.
Yeah.
So that is kind of a thing. But other than that, bro, I agree. It was a nice break and all that stuff. But I'm excited. I'm excited to start posting again. I'm excited to start talking about it again. I'm very excited to see what we can come up with too, because I feel we were trying to make, for example, the last season we did was true crime, but that's kind of there's not too many different things you can do with that.
Yeah.
as opposed to just being true crime. You know, like obviously there's ways you do it and like how you present stories, but like we were trying to come up with like cool little creative ideas. You know, like if you ever checked it out, it was Decades of Darkness. 70s serial killers, you know, like we come up with like cool names and like try to come up with like artwork and stuff like that, just like so we could express that creative side. But it was such a serious topic that it's like, you know, you got to tread lightly, because at the end of the day, it's like it's still horror stories. It's still, you know, people's lives that like sometimes were ruined. You know what I mean? And it's not anything to like play around with. So I think this gives us the freedom to actually be a little more creative in the ways that we want, but also make it a little more about us and like our visions. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, you know, you got to be respectful at the end of the day when it comes to other people.
Yeah. Well, and also it was just like, it was always very dark and heavy topics, obviously, given the nature of what we were talking about. So it wasn't anything that like made us necessarily feel good. I mean, you know, in a way it is good to for people to hear those stories and, you know, hear what happened to these people, and at least like, you know, that will bring some justice to people finding out about these killers, and like obvious and honestly can help people look out for like red flags in certain people, or, you know, the different natures of why these people do what they do. So there was some sort of like learning behind it, and obviously understanding. But for us, it was just so much like negative energy and just so much, you know, just it was very,
it was just heavy.
blight. Yeah, it was just very heavy. And so for us, like at the end of it, you know, we'd finish the episode and we would almost feel exhausted in a way. Like,
yeah,
you know, and I'm not saying it, like physically, it was almost more so like just mentally, because one, it was a lot of information, but also at the same time, it was just like, wow, that was heavy. Like I need to just like go and reset and do something.
Yeah, I used to always like listen to either like some Christian music after, or like I try to watch like a comedy.
Yeah, you just have to like switch up the vibes
like,
completely.
It was, yeah, there were days, and like, man, like some stories like that we did, like I wouldn't, like we would take out information from the cases because they were so dark or messed up, or gory or whatever the case may be. Like we would have to like pick and choose just because like it would have been too much.
Right.
It's
that kind of leads me to a question that I have that I've been thinking about. What do you think is gonna be, or at least so far, I mean, we've only done like one episode, so obviously it's not really too much we can track so far, but what do you think will be different about doing a podcast straight off the top? Because, you know, for those of you that don't know, I mean, like we, for so long on our old podcast, were almost, well, pre-planning, especially with the true crime and conspiracy. Obviously we have to do our research, we have to know what we're talking about. We can't just, you know, trying to say these cases or tell these conspiracy theories like off the top. It doesn't work. You're gonna miss facts, and people will call you out like that. So you really had to make sure.
People call you out when you're not even talking about facts.
Yeah, like you had to really, really make sure. And like different websites have different information, so it was just a lot different. But even when we did like our real talk episodes, we would still try to almost plan it out in a way, because we had never done a podcast like this before. So we were like, hey, at least if we come in with some like preset ideas, then like we'll know, we'll have a guideline of how to do it. But now it's like literally just having a conversation about whatever is on our mind in the moment. So what do you think will be like different about that?
About like the winging it almost?
About the what?
About like the flow of it, because we don't
just
have to,
in general, just like, yeah, is, you know, or does it excite you more? Is it scary? Is it weird?
I think at first, for the first episode, I was a little nervous because I was like, what if we run out of things to talk about?
Yeah.
Granted, if you've ever hung out with me and Tyler, we never shut up. So I don't know how that would even be the case.
Especially me.
But, yeah. But, you know, I think it makes me excited because it's like you can come in with like points, like I'm sure you have some stuff you want to talk about on this episode. I want to have some stuff I want to talk about on this episode, but it's like it's where the conversation goes, and I think it's going to be a lot more fluid, and I think that excites me because it's like I feel like before it used to be a little like choppy. It was like this, now this, oh, this, now this, now this, now this. It felt more like a checklist and a to-do list as opposed to this. I'm like, like we could go this way, we could go that way. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
And I also think I like that it caters to us because it's like, not the life is not cookie cutter and life is not what you expect or plan it to be. So it's like if we're having a bad day and we want to talk about it, like we can, like we don't have to like always stick to the script if you want. Yeah, that's what you want to call it. So I don't know, bro. I think for me it's exciting. Like I think it's more personal, it's more enjoyable, and like for me, time goes by way faster. Like before, we would record hour-long episodes, and I'd be like, "Yep, that felt like an hour."
Yeah, it would feel.
And then
long.
last week, our episode, I don't know what it'll be after all the final cuts, but we recorded is like an hour or something, and it felt way shorter.
Well, yeah, and I think also, something that we started doing as well is because I was like, I'm gonna be straight up, like I don't have the best memory, and if I don't like write things down, I won't really. I mean, not all the time, but it's hard for me too. There's so many different things going on. I feel like in everybody's life nowadays, especially with social media and just like the way you can keep up with people now and seeing everything that's going on, like, and especially our attention spans, like we just don't have the same memories that I think people used to. So, before we started this, I was like, hey, like, let's start like a shared group notes so that we can just write down like experiences or like random thoughts that we had. If you had a weird dream you want to share, if you had a weird encounter with somebody you want to share, just write it down, because then like, you can either just review those before, and like if something attracts to you that day, you'll be like, oh yes, I remember that, I want to talk about that. But if you don't, like if I look through the notes and like, they're all good and good things, obviously, but if nothing's really speaking to me and like I don't really want to talk about it that day, then I don't have to. I can just kind of go in with what I'm feeling. Versus like before, we had specific set ones. So no matter what we were feeling that day or what we were going through, we were doing that set like tone or set category or topic. And I feel like that just kind of took a little bit of the spontaneity out of the conversation, but also just our own attention. Is that a word?
Spontaneity?
I think so.
I know you were saying like the spontaneous element, but spontaneity.
I think it is. Are we able to get a check?
Do you want me to? I can.
No, it's cool. We can fact check it later. But I don't know. I mean, I do have a tendency to make up words. So if you guys ever want to correct me in the comment section, feel free. I mean, it's cool. I need to learn. I'm okay with that. But yeah, I feel like for me personally, it took out a little bit of the engagement in the conversation, because I feel like I almost knew what was coming, and I was like, oh, okay, like time for them to do theirs, time for me to do mine. And now it's like, oh, I don't know. We don't really know what's going to come up, and if it does, where it's going to lead. And I think that just is more exciting. And like Gabe said, I mean, obviously, like, we're not just two random people that got together to do this podcast. Like, we've been friends for years. I think you could say a decade now, pretty much.
Yeah, almost, probably.
And so, like, we typically always have something to talk about,
Somehow.
Somehow. I mean, most of the time it's probably a bunch of BS, but hey, that's what the most fun conversations are made of anyways, right?
True. Just to add to that, just so we can move on, one thing that I noticed that I personally did, I don't know if you or when we had our third member, Chase, I don't know if he did it either, but life gets in the way. So sometimes you do last minute notes, or you add things last minute, or maybe you do your notes, but you didn't get to like practice how you're going to say them. So I would get in the tendency of like, while other people were saying their stories, like I would try to go over my notes so then I wouldn't, so it'd be a little more fluid for when I was going over them.
Especially with the true crime.
Yeah, precisely, especially the true crime, because there was so many facts and like, you got to be right on them. So I would catch myself, you guys would say your story, or you would say your story, and like I would miss like a chunk of it. Because like I would like space out, or like I would be reading my stuff, and then you'd be like, right, and I'd be like, yeah, right, yeah, I agree, that's crazy. I don't even know what you said, but that's crazy. You know what I mean? So I think that took a lot away from the engagement factor and just like the overall vibe too, because I think doing it long distance like how we are now, as opposed to doing it in person, was a little different. It was a little easier to get reactions, a little more easier to stay engaged and like keep up with what others were saying and stuff like that. And it's easier to feed off of other people, you know, like if you say something gross and I react like over the camera versus in person, like it's a different
totally.
You know,
it was a different energy, yeah. But even
energy,
like
that's what
you
I'm
know
looking for.
what you were saying about like missing things. There would be times when I would be editing a video and I'd be like, I don't remember the story at all. You know what I mean? Like, and like that sounds bad, but sometimes you know you would just because again the stories were really long, and like we also knew that we were gonna be like hearing them over and over and over again in post production. Like editing the videos, because when you edit a video, it's not like, oh, just chop, 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 chop. No, it's listen again and cut this out and cut this out and trim that little part out. So it's so much of hearing the same thing over and over again that I was just sometimes like, man, I don't want to hear this story 20 times. I'll just hear it in the editing, you know, whenever I'm editing. But nowadays, I mean, at least for this first episode, again, like we're fresh in it, we're new in it. So obviously this is, you know, a little bit more exciting, but it's like funny for me to like look back now and like look at our conversations that we're having here and like they're actually interesting and I can have fun like playing around with the editing with them and seeing where like I want to take them, what parts I want to chop out. So yeah, man, it's definitely different, but I'm definitely like excited for it. I think it was a really great move for us to do because I think this is honestly like what we want to be doing is literally just having a conversation, you know.
But to, I guess, officially start the episode, just because I don't know how we're going to be doing it for this podcast, but let's play that intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start. Introducing Catchin Podcast.
That I still haven't heard.
It's still not done.
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
He said it's still work in progress.
Yeah. I kind of want an intro video to like kind of bounce back off of it, but
yeah,
you heard it, like the intro was more so done than the outro. You know the ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah, I don't fully remember.
Shut up.
Anyways, so I have a couple of thoughts and questions for some gym goers out there. You're a gym goer, aren't you?
Occasionally now.
You said I go 1 to 2 times a month. You can say I live.
Bro, no, this new job, like, okay, for those of you watching, if you work a night job like me, I bar back, and lately I've been the closer, so I go in at 7 p.m., and I leave anywhere from like 3 to 4 in the morning. How do you manage to fit the gym in there? Because I'm so exhausted. I sleep like more than half of the day because I also need my hours of sleep. And then also the worst part is that like, although, yeah, maybe I'll get home at like 4:30, I'm still wired. Like I'm still like on work mode.
Then
because
you just
I
go
also have to drive
straight to the gym,
minutes.
bro.
That's what I've been thinking. But then I'm like, man, going to bed when the sun rises, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that sucks.
That would mess me up.
And then I'll wake up. Then I'll really wake up and have to go straight to work.
Yeah, I get that.
So any advice, let me know. But I think I'm just gonna have to start. I think I'm gonna try to find a gym close to my job. And
Yeah,
then,
because
like, maybe
honestly,
go before work.
if you could find one that has like a shower, then you could honestly just just get some shower shoes.
Well,
and
Fitness
shower
CF
there.
is only 15 minutes away, but the only thing that Fitness CF doesn't have is a guest pass.
Oh, you're right. They don't.
That's the only knockoff about that gym. Is like it's like my favorite gym of all time, but like you can't bring a guest.
You should
And
see
it's
if they'll
like
let you use the hotel gyms.
True, I don't think they will. Though.
Come on, man. You gotta finesse.
Yeah, I'll be there advertising.
Exactly. If you wear the shirt, people will be like, "Where's that at?" You're like, "Well, all right. Let me tell you a little something."
If you go into the lobby and take a left.
But anyway, so my questions, because I saw a couple of these things literally last night at the gym, and I just was like, what's going on here? And these are genuine questions. I'm not hating. I'm just asking, like, you know, what's the deal with these things? So the first question is, do you ever see like guys walking around the gym, or I guess it could be girls too, and they have just like a huge backpack, like literally like the ones they issue for like militaries or like people who go to the military. Like they're like 3 zippers, stack longs. They're like packed to the brim. And I'm just curious, like, what are y'all keeping in there? Because, okay, so realistically, if in my gym bag, I have like my headphones, my wallet, my keys, sometimes boxing gloves if I want to do boxing. And like, I don't take pre-workout anymore, but if I did, I would say pre-workout, maybe some supplements. But like, what else are you keeping in there that, one, you can't keep it in the locker, because it kind of crowds up the gym floor and stuff. And 2, I'm curious, like, what do you have in there? Is this your, because it looks like it's their gym bag. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe they're coming from work and they have all their work stuff in there or school or something. I don't know. That's why I'm curious. But a lot of the times I'm just like, why do you have such a big, like, what are you keeping in there?
So from working out with some people that do carry around those big bags, one, I don't think they carry. I think they carry them because a lot of the times they're so big they just don't fit in the lockers.
True.
So
true.
that's one thing. 2, a lot of the times, from what I've seen, I'm not saying this is everyone, but this is what I've noticed is that a big portion of people like to carry all their gym equipment every time they work out. I don't know why, but maybe it's just motivation or whatever. But like a lot of them will have, belts for squatting.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they'll use that metal bar that goes around your chest for your biceps.
Mm-hmm,
They have like that. Sometimes people will have like what are they called? Those shoes that are just for like squatting, deadlifting, powerlifting.
Like flat shoes.
Yeah, like lifting,
or whatever.
that type of lifting shoe. So like they'll have that there because that's not necessarily comfortable to work everything else
for sure.
out in. So it's like a pair of pants. They probably do have extra pants and like extra clothes, but usually it'll be like extra equipment like that. Like what are they called? What belt am I talking about?
It's just like a lever belt or just a squat belt, really.
Yeah,
but even a lot of the
belt.
times I see them like they have the squat belt like wrapped around like the strap. So I'm like, that ain't in there. I don't know. I mean, me personally, I hate having like extra things. Like at the gym, like I just want to be able to pick up my water bottle and like go. You know what I mean? Like I don't like having to freaking lug a bag around and carry this and carry that. I'm like, I feel like it's gonna slow you down a bit. But I guess, if you're, and I'm also like not a bodybuilder by any means. I just like to work out. So, I guess for them, like they go to the gym, that's almost like their office time. Maybe. I don't know. I've never been the one to do that. So I find it a little, just like.
And like
crazy.
you said, a lot of the times they will have, pre-workout. A lot of them will carry the creatine, maybe some like BCAA and other supplements like that. So I get that takes a lot, but like I don't get why they don't do it at home. But maybe it's like you said, like maybe they're coming from work too.
Yeah.
So like that could be the very much so the thing as well. But yeah, it's usually just like every single gym item that they have ever used is in that bag. From what I've
okay, I mean, listen, this is a fair answer. I'll take it. Now, number 2, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer it as easily because this one.
Try me.
This one kind of baffles me a little bit.
I'm pretty intelligent.
So I love the sauna. It's like one of my favorite things to use at the gym. I don't understand when people use the sauna and they bring in either their energy drink or I've seen people with like flavored sparkling waters, and I get it. If you want to bring in water and stay hydrated, I get it. But either way, whatever drink or beverage you're bringing in is going to get hot and it's going to get really warm. And like I said, with water, it's a little different because like if you drink some warm water, but like who wants to be drinking a warm energy drink or a warm soda or sparkling water? Like that just sounds gross to me. And you're almost like ruining the drink.
So do you think, okay, question. Do you think it's ice cold already, or do you think they're just like they were drinking it throughout their workout, so it's already kind of getting warm, and then they bring it in? Because I feel like that definitely affects my answer.
Well, either or, it's still gonna get hot. Like the sauna is hot. Like
I need to take my
chain, my
off
ear.
'cause it
Yeah, like
burns me.
anything you
Yeah.
bring in there is getting hot. So there's a difference between drinking something that's room temperature versus something that's hot. You know what I mean? Unless you bring some coffee in there, I guess. But
if you bring it in like a water bottle that's like temperature controlled.
No, but it's not like that. I'm talking about people who bring in like cans of stuff.
Man, you're right. I don't know.
It's just weird to me. I'm just like,
it is.
If anything, I would leave it like right outside because there's usually a little window. Leave it outside, and then if you want to go and get a drink, just hop out real quick and take a sip and go back in. You know.
I get it if they bring it in and they're trying to drink it for the first within like the first 5 minutes they're sitting, because then like honestly potentially you could probably drink it.
I'm talking about people
hot.
that are in there the entire session with me, like, and I'm in there for anywhere from like 17 to 20 minutes. And it's like,
and they're
hot.
sipping it the whole time.
Yeah.
No, that's weird.
I'm like, I'm like,
dang,
what's
bro,
going on here?
Maybe, hey, you never know. Maybe hot Red Bull's the new wave.
Hey, maybe they're just built different.
That too.
I don't know. I'm just like, some things I'm just like, what is going on? And also,
I've never heard of that.
PSA to people who are entering the sauna or leaving the sauna. You don't gotta open the door and let it hang there for a cool 10 to 15 seconds. Like, you can just sneak your way out and, like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, obviously we're in the sauna for, you want it to be as hot as possible. You're trying to get that heat tension and get the blood pumping and the heart racing. People like will literally enter the sauna and like fling the door open and like let it chill for like 10 seconds. And
and then you get that fat gust of cold air.
Yeah, I'm like, is that really like necessary? But even sometimes, or like if their friend is coming, they'll like hold the door open and just wait there. And I'm like, you couldn't have just waited outside or like came in and let them come in themselves? Like, come on. You know?
I'm not gonna lie. When we started doing that, I did used to do that, but that was because I didn't want it to be that hot. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait for my friend, reasonable. But really, I'm trying to cool the sauna.
But yeah, that one I'm being a little bit of a hater on. But I don't know. That's like a pet peeve of mine. Is I'm just like, we all in here trying to grind it out, and you're over here just ruining the whole thing by letting all the steam out. I'm like, great. Now we got to reset.
Yeah, all the stench.
yeah. Don't be letting
the stench out, bro. It smells like BO in here.
No, actually, it's weird. I feel like whenever they open it and let the air kind of like process in and then close it, you actually can like then smell the stench. Because if you're just trapped in there. It isn't really like but then when they open it and like it like lets the fresh air in, then it's like, oh wow, maybe I should get out of here.
It is musty in here.
Maybe it is time to get out. Oh, 20 minutes? Okay, cool. But yeah, those were just my qualms with the gym last night. So
qualms for the gym last night, bro. Okay, since you're just talking about your experience yesterday. Yesterday I did. Because we're recording this episode on Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to all the lovers and friends.
Day to all you couples and all of you single people. Happy Valentine's Day.
Y'all showing everybody love. Your mom, your girls, your mans, your friends, whoever. It's a day about love, so show them some love, man. Gabe, I love you, man.
I love you too, bro.
Thanks.
Granted, you'll see this not on Valentine's Day, but
they're gonna be like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, but me and my girlfriend celebrated Valentine's Day the day before because we're servers, so we work today. But the day before that, when I was doing my last minute shopping, bro, I went to Target and I was like looking at the Polaroids, right? And I'm like squat down, like looking at the bottom shelf, and then this kid comes out of nowhere with a football and says, "You ready to catch this?" And I was like, and I literally looked behind me because I was like, who is he talking to? And he was talking to me. He's like, "You ready?" And I was like, heck no. And he's like, "Oh, what, you suck?" And then I said, "Yeah, I'm not great at football, I guess." And then he's like, "Oh, you're just bad?" And I was like, "I guess, yeah, I just don't have good hands, I guess." And he's like, "Nah, bro, anyone can do it. Like, you want to do it right now?" And I'm like, and like the whole time I was like, "Where's the camera?" I was like,
"How old is this kid?"
Probably like 16.
Oh,
17.
Okay. He's like a teen.
Yeah, like he was like high school.
Yeah,
and I was just like literally, I was like looking around for the camera because I was
the
like,
TikTok
"Where's the
crew?"
Yeah, where's the TikTok? Give me a shout out, Catching Up Podcast. But I was just like, no. And then he grabbed another ball and he's like, "Are you ready?" And I said, "No, bro. Like, what are you doing?" And then he left. And then I was just like, "What is going on?" And like, it felt like a fever dream for a second. I literally was just like, "Did that just really just happen?" With no camera too. Like, it just happened. It wasn't a video. Like, I followed him after because he turned the corner and he just happened to be going where I was going. And there was no one following him with the camera. Like, he wasn't talking to anyone. Like, he was just by himself. And then I walk into the bathroom and then there's like these 3 kids, literally like, if I'm guessing, it was probably like 10, or it was probably like 12, 14, and then like 16. Like, it was probably like that, like those 3. And like, I hear like a lot of noise in the bathroom. I open the door. All I hear is shh. And then they like one's like washing their hands and one's like using the urinal. The other one's just like, and then like leaves. And then they all leave. And then I'm just like, bro, what is going on? Like, these hooligans. And then I go back out and I'm walking around. And then there's literally a group of like 8 teenage boys ranging from like 17 to like 12. It was like the weirdest thing. And like, they were all the same group. Like, they were like huddled up. And bro, like, you could just tell they were up to stuff. Because they were like playing with stuff and things like that. And then when I was near the front door, they were like huddled up. And then like in single file line, they all just left Target. And like, I'm like, they definitely just stole something. Like, there's no way. You know what I mean? But then I think, I'm like, do you think how they seemed, right? Like, they seemed like sketchy. Granted, were they sketchy? I don't know. You know what I mean? Were they stealing something? I don't know. Were they doing things they shouldn't have been doing? I don't know. But like, you just get that vibe because it's just like a bunch of teenage boys running around like lollygagging, and then you're just like, oh, like they're up to something. I'm like, I wonder if we were that bad. Like, I wonder if we looked like that when we would go everywhere with our group of like 8 friends, just like all like late teens, early 20s, which probably like even more mischievous. And you know what I mean? And I'm just like, man, like, I'm over here like feeling like an old fart because I'm like, these hooligans in the aisles ruining my shopping experience. And then I'm just like, that was me. That's what I was gonna
say. I was like, hey, don't forget that was us at one point.
And like, I was literally walking. I was like, this is crazy. I feel so old. I'm like, I mean, were we that bad?
Here's the thing. Granted, I feel like back when like we would be out shopping. I mean, we weren't necessarily like doing hooligans for the sake of it. We were just like out being dumb. You know what I mean? And like whatever conversation we were having, or like, you know, we would just be like, we would just do something stupid just out of like, that was our nature. Not anything crazy. You know what I mean? But I feel like nowadays, you know, these kids growing up on like TikTok and Instagram, and they see people go and like do stupid things at Target or do stupid interviews or like put stuff in people's cart. Like, I feel like they get ideas from there and then they just go and do that because they're like, oh, that looks cool. Or like, oh, that looks funny. Like, let's go and do that. You know, so like versus us, we would never did stupid stuff like that, you know, or that to that degree. But it would just be because of like, we were there. Like, that wasn't like our trip. Like, let's go to Target and do stupid stuff. You know, like we were just happened to need something at Target and we're just like acting like dips. You know what I mean? Like,
like dips.
As simple as it is. But to a degree, it is similar, right? But yeah, nowadays I just feel like they do it because it's almost trendy.
Yeah, bro. It was just like, I literally was like, I'm gonna get jumped. Like, on accident. Like, you know what I mean?
Get jumped by
like, I'm gonna make one of them mad because I don't want to partake in their video. And then I'm just gonna, but yeah, bro. And then just a little recap on my little Valentine's. You know, Delaney and I got her in the morning. I gave her, you know, a bottle of rosé, a nice one, a nice little bouquet of flowers, and then I got her a little bag just with some candy in it.
A Birkin?
And then I bought. Yup. A Birkin bag. No, like a little gift bag that said Valentine's on it. And then I got her some Polaroid film. Mm-hmm. I got her a little card. And then she was nice too, because the other week I bought her, so we like this brand called Iron Flask for water bottles, just because the water bottle is kind of like the Hydro Flask style.
Oh, is that the one you showed earlier?
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a Stanley.
Yeah, no. So, anyways, we had my black one, It's basically like a hydro flask. The reason I like that one more is because the you know where the hook where you hold it, it clips. That brand has a clip, so you can clip it to your backpack.
Oh.
To the strap of your backpack as opposed to just a ring that you have to hold.
Yeah.
So that's why I switched over to that one. But then after Tyler started showing my girlfriend what Stanley cups were like, she really liked those. And then they have their own Stanley cup. So I bought her like a turquoise, like kind of like greenish one, like lighter than this. But I kept drinking from it because mine doesn't fit in a cup holder because it's the water bottle. So, but these do fit in the cup holder of your car. So it's just easier for me to grab hers. So she bought me one, so now I can stop drinking her water.
There you go.
And then she got me some like toiletry stuff. Like she got me some new body wash, some new beard conditioner because
we
my
know
beard's
you
been
need
dry
it,
lately.
so.
She refilled my dude wipes. So I got some more dude wipes. She got me some candy. She got me a bunch of little cute stuff. But the main event, bro, so fun. Highly recommend if you have this opportunity. You need a friend named Will first. He has 2 electric longboards that like go super fast. They're super fun. But so I borrowed his 2 electric longboards. Mm-hmm. This is all surprise to her too. She didn't know. So and then my grandma has this like picnic bag that's like actually like you can put on you like it's a bag. So I bought like a bunch of fruits, some like charcuterie meat like prosciutto, salami, all that type of stuff. I got some of the what are they called? They're those little rings of like tortillas. They're like wraps, but sliced up wraps basically.
Are you talking about the thing from Publix?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess you could. I mean, I don't know if there's like a technical name for them, but
there
basically
is
like
but
a
I just
wrap.
Can't remember.
Cut.
Yeah, basically you make a little wrap of like salami, lettuce, tomato, like all that stuff, and then you just cut up into like slices that are like this thick. So I got a bunch of those. I got some mimosas, and I shoved it all in that bag. And then I drove her to this little area because I don't want everyone knowing where I live. And we went on this trail. And I had no destination in mind. I just surprised her, and she was like freaking out, bro. She was like, "Oh, this is such a cool idea!" But riding the electric longboards the whole time, she was like, I was like trying to talk to her. I'm like, "Oh, you're doing great." She's like, "Stop talking."
Was it her first time?
Yeah, it was her first time.
Yeah, that's scary, bro.
Say that again.
It's scary. I mean, I remember my
scary.
first time. It's like it's just weird. Your equilibrium is just like off.
Exactly, and she had to wear her own backpack because she needed to carry the blanket and like the speaker and stuff like that. So it's like extra weight on the back that she's not used to. And then riding an electric longboard, but she did great. We rode for like 15 minutes, and then we found a little like bench area by a little pond, and then we spent like 3 hours just like talking, eating, and then I got the blanket. We laid under the trees, and it was really nice. And then we went back into town, got a couple drinks, and then crashed. I was exhausted. Yeah, so that was my little Valentine's Day.
To that spot.
Yeah, I actually think it was the spot you would go to whenever you'd go.
That's that's definitely the spot that we've been there a couple times. I mean, you ain't never take me on a picnic there, but we've been there a couple.
Maybe when you come back and visit.
No, but that's sweet. That sounds like a really fun time. And a really creative ideas instead of the usual like. I mean, it's fine going out to dinner and stuff, but I always think if destination spots like that, it's always a little bit more, heartfelt and just easier, because, you try to go to dinner on Valentine's Day, it's just crowded. Even the week, like the whole week of Valentine's Day. It's not even just, because obviously everybody's schedules, people go at different times. So, and it's just a nicer view, honestly, than being in a restaurant.
Yeah, and it's nice, bro. Like, whenever, because like a dinner... One, I feel like there's like a limit, on how long you're gonna be there. Just because you don't want to take up too much time, you got other things to do. You got to deal with traffic. But it was also like I don't know. I feel like at least for us, like it was a lot more meaningful because it is easy to take pictures and videos so you can remember of it when you first get there, and then after that you're just like it's just you two. Like you're just talking, you're playing some nice quiet music in the background. Oh, excuse me. Some nice quiet music in the background, It's just like I feel like it's a lot more meaningful. And like that's the type of stuff that we like to do. You know what I mean? Obviously, it caters to everyone. You know, not everyone likes to spend time with their significant other, one-on-one, not on their phones. But you know,
especially nowadays.
Yeah, bro.
It's a little
especially
bit different.
Those glasses. Oh, I want those goggles so bad, but my girlfriend keeps saying no.
Oh well, I guess we should. I mean, listen, those Apple Vision Pros, man, they are crazy. And my prediction for the Apple Vision Pros is I think they are basically what cell phones were in the 1990s when they were super big. And obviously, like, this is super advanced, but just in terms of like where they're gonna take it, I feel like, you know, they're super big right now. They're heavy. They don't really have a long battery life. So it's an amazing thing, and it's revolutionary. But I think give it 20 years time, and they're gonna be basically just sunglasses, maybe with a little bit bigger than, like, obviously the ones like you have on, or just like some regular wire shades. But I do think, you know, they'll start to get smaller and smaller and more compact and more stylish as time goes on, as cell phones did.
100%.
And then eventually, and I think it's such a weird thing, bro, because I think it's really a really cool invention. And like I said, I think it's revolutionary and it's going to change a lot of things going forward. But at the same time, it's scary because if you think about it, you know, people are already so much on their phones everywhere they go and in their daily lives. Think about like when you don't have to have a device in your hand, when you can just put glasses on and like leave them on all day, and you have screens everywhere, and like you could be literally having a conversation with somebody and have Instagram up on the side, and like they wouldn't even know, you know? So it's just the places it's gonna go is gonna be great, but also like I think there's gonna be a lot of cons in terms of just real life communication. You know,
100%, bro. And it's also like they're already making AI girlfriends.
What?
Yeah, they have like AI
that.
girlfriends. They have AI girlfriends. They have AI, like, also like for a girl that, like, let's say let's say we're famous, right? And then, you know, people fall in love with you and I. We could get an AI that acts as if it's us in a relationship with them.
Like on your computer, or
yeah, like you talk to the AI on the computer,
so it's almost
like
a
you chat with it all day,
but like they are catering to you.
Correct, and like apparently like some people do that with OnlyFans now because they just can, and bro, like can you imagine it's like on your goggles, like you can just see them?
Yeah, that's weird. That's really
especially with
weird.
this deep fake stuff, bro. Like it's gonna be. I don't even know. But yeah, I think the interaction is going to be terrible. I think, because that's what my girlfriend always says. She's like, you're not going to talk to me. You're not going to talk to me. She's like, you already don't talk to me when you're on your phone watching TikToks now, let alone like on your eyes.
So,
which I understand. I definitely think, like you said, there's going to be a lot more cons, but the pros, I think are going to be crazy. Like, I think it's going to make it. I saw this one dude, he like, because you can apparently pin things for when you look at them. And this guy did it to his house. So he's like, I walk in and like every time I'm cooking, like there's a timer above the oven. So it reminds him. And then he's like, every time I get to the cutting board, there's like a recipe list. And then he's like, every time I look at this wall, it has like my to-do list. And then he's like, I look here, and then it's like a window outside that doesn't actually exist, and like things like that. Like apparently you can make them stationary.
Yes.
So where it's like every time I look at my dining room table, there's gonna be a TV. You know what I mean, or something like that. So I think it's gonna make people way more, almost like minimalist in a way, because they can have way more than they actually do without having it.
Yeah. Well, and even that just gave me,
you don't even need a TV anymore.
You don't. And that even just gave me the thought, I'm like, you know, if you think people's memories are bad now, imagine how bad they'll be, because you don't have to use your brain anymore, really. Like, you don't have to remember to set a timer. It's right there. You don't have to remember to all the recipes and the groceries or the list of things that you need. It's all right there. You don't have to remember to like go and get something. You have like all these reminders just around you. But even like, I think it goes as far as, I don't know if there's a certain like limit, but I know you can do it. Like you can go like let's say you went to work and you like left, you had it on and you had something open there. Like you can go home and then go back and it'll still be at work. Like it's not just limited to your house. It's like anywhere. And so I'm just like, man, it's going to just be such a weird thing. And obviously, like, right now, it's super expensive, so it prices a lot of people out, and it's super big. A lot of people don't really want to, like, wear them. So, again, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, but once they start to make it more simplistic and better designed, it's going to be crazy.
I think 20 years is a stretch. I think like 5 to 10. Like I don't think.
I mean, yeah, because you also have to think, now things are moving faster. We have so many more advantages technologically that people can advance faster. But even just thinking about like the pros, I'm like, there are some really cool things about it. For example, like the travel mode thing. So I don't know if you saw, but like, it can't track regular. If it's in regular mode, it can't track. Like, let's say you're in a car or a plane, you would just essentially move to the screen because you're moving past it. But they have a travel mode where it'll like lock everything in place because it knows that you're moving. So the screen will stay there even if you're moving around. Like if you're in a car, for example, or a plane. So, and the ability that like, I think you've seen it where you can change the surroundings. Like, I don't know if this is for when you're walking around, but like if you're watching a movie, you can watch it on like the moon or like, the Avengers Tower or somewhere. So I think that will be really cool for, people with long car rides, plane rides. Obviously, you can kind of just zone in and zone out on your own thing. But, other than that, I mean, man, I don't know.
I think
it's tough.
I think it'll help with claustrophobia too. Like people that get claustrophobic in planes, if you have that and it just looks like you're outside, like I feel like although it's like maybe it'll calm you down. I don't know. Maybe that'll happen. And did you see? This isn't like this crazy of a technological advancement as the pros, but they made a mask that looks like like a normal mask that we used to wear when COVID first hit. I mean, it looks pretty sick, like a villain would wear it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the mask from Winter Soldier that he has that just covers right here.
For like the Vision Pro?
No. It's not. It has nothing to do with the Vision Pro. But I'm like, if you use them together. So anyway, this mask is completely sealed off and it mutes you. So it's like you can say anything you want in it. And it like connects to your computer, but like no one around you can hear it. And it's meant for doing like public like meetings in public areas or like a phone call. Like how like if you're at a coffee shop and then you have a Zoom meeting for work, like sometimes you can't say certain things in public because it's like classified information, or it's just quiet, so you don't, or like you're in the library and you don't want to be
you're
loud.
trying to have a personal convo.
Exactly, yeah. So that is a mask you put on and it completely mutes you to the outside, but it like you speak freely and it just plugs it into your phone or your laptop.
That's wild.
Or whatever.
I haven't seen that.
So I'm like, can you imagine if you had that and the Vision Pros, and then it's like now no one can hear what you're saying either, or seeing, or know what you're seeing? Like you're really like in your own world.
Well, and I think that I mean, again, the pros that come along with it are the cons as well. Like I think people are just going to become so like detached from real life. You know what I mean? Like it's just all these things that are great, and advancing us in technology standards. I don't know. It's just it's all detracting from real life, And even though the cool thing I like about the Vision Pro is that like it has that pass through, so at least you're still seeing what's actually in front of you to a degree. I mean, aside from the screens, like you still see, your kitchen, your bedroom, like it's still real life there. But just all these things that you can add to it, and then eventually, obviously, it's going to get more and more advanced. And I don't know, man. I think it's gonna mess with people a lot, and they're not really gonna know how to handle real life situations anymore without it. It's almost gonna be like this crutch where it's like I can't turn and look at something that'll make me happy right now, or I can't like, I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah. And if you want because we're approaching 50 minutes, or we are at 50 minutes, I want to hear about your experience with the Q&A and the movie.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Okay, cool. So yeah, this past weekend, my girlfriend invited me to go and see Poor Things, the new Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe. I mean, an amazing cast. Film. There was a screening, and they were having a Q&A afterwards with Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo, which was really cool. But first things first, I got to go to this theater over here in LA that's, I think, been around since the 30s or 40s, maybe even longer. I forget the name of it, but it's the one that they shot Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the movie scene where Sharon Tate goes and watches the movie. So I've always like wanted to go there, and I've always wondered what theater that was because it's super cool. It's very retro. It's very, they have the neon lights on the outside, which I personally love, and I wish all theaters still did. But yeah, I mean, first off, the film was amazing. It's really good. It's a very interesting plot. It's very graphic in terms of like sexual content. So fair warning if that isn't your type of movie, probably not for you. But yeah, I mean, just from the performances to the set designs to the camera work, the angles, the visuals, the colors, it was just so much about the film that I loved. And I really can see why it's getting all the Oscar attention. I don't think I would give it the nod over Oppenheimer, but I think it's amazing, and like I wouldn't be upset if it did win. But with that being said, the Q&A was awesome. It was probably only around like 30 minutes or so. Obviously, it's late, and apparently, like they had been doing press all day, and it's Oscar time. Like they're doing stuff 24/7. But it's always really cool. I've been to a few of these Q&As, screening Q&As now that she's invited me to for different projects, and it's always really cool just to hear that not only one like see them in person. You're used to seeing them on a screen the whole time, so it's cool seeing them in the flesh and getting to hear them speak, not scripted lines or like not in some big interview that they're doing, and just hear their experiences on set. And like you kind of learn that they're just like us. Like even during the interview, like they would say something and be like, oh, like why did I say that, or like feel like oh, that like that didn't work, or if they said a joke or whatever. And you just see that like they're real humans too. Like they're up there judging themselves and tracking themselves, and also like they talking about their experiences on set, and just seeing that like they're going through the same struggles and obstacles that you are. You're just at different levels working on different things. So it's always like such an amazing thing. But I've been such a fan of Emma Stone and Mark Ruffalo. I love him too, but more so Emma Stone. I mean, she's in one of my favorite movies of all time, being La La Land. And so yeah, it was really just a very cool experience, and one that I enjoyed a lot, and hope to get to do more of in the future, and hopefully get to work with them in the future. That would be crazy.
That'd be fire.
But yeah, I mean, it's just something that you also. I mean, I know they do press tours and stuff like that in a lot of other places, but it's something that I feel is a little bit more specific to LA, when there's like, because these are happening all the time, and like this is something that I never experienced in Florida, or had the opportunity to do. So it's really cool getting to do that, and especially like after you just watch something they were in, and then they're literally right there. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I had a great time. I think it was insightful and just really cool to, like I said, get to hear from them. So yeah, it was great, man. It was a really fun time. Hopefully one day I can bring you to one of them, if when you're out here it lines up. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah, it was cool. So I recommend, to whoever hasn't seen that movie, I'd recommend you watching it. It's probably unlike anything you've ever seen before, so definitely check it out. But yeah, I think that. Oh, one other thing I want to touch on, because it was cool about the theater, that I just had a thought when I was there. So like up by the bathrooms, they had like a picture of the theater like back when it was I think it was in the 40s or 50s. And bro, it's just like it was a release night of some movie. I don't remember the exact one. but there's like people everywhere. There's just like 1,000 people out on the street, on the sidewalks. And if you look back at like old, like when Star Wars was released or like any of these classic movies that were released back in their time, like going to the movies was such an event, and people like they dressed up, they acted as if it was like, you were going to like the actual like live theater, or you were going to like a live event. It was like such a big thing. And nowadays it's like, you go in your comfy clothes and it's never that busy anymore. I mean, of course, for like blockbuster movies for the first week, it'll be busy, but it just wasn't, it's just not as much of an event anymore. And it's kind of sad, man. I'm like, because it's like, I mean, obviously I'm a little bit biased because I love film. I'm an actor. So I love movies. I love film. So for me, it's a little bit different, but just seeing how like everybody really kind of more so respected them back in the days and like wanted to go and see them and wanted to go and see these new artistic endeavors from whatever creators that were making the projects. And it's just different to see a picture like that versus now. Like you would never see people standing outside of a theater. Like I think you could even drop an Avengers movie and like, yeah, it'll be busy, but not to any sort of degree like it was. Because nowadays, you can just watch things at home. You can stream them at home. So a lot of people don't even think to go to the movie theaters.
In the people's defense, COVID did change a lot of that. Because before COVID, it still would be, you're right, not to that, like altitude. It still
wasn't,
like
right,
that,
like an event.
Yeah, it wasn't that huge. But I do remember, like, with my friends going to go see, Iron Man or, like, Avengers for the first time. And there would be a lot of people to the point that, like, basically every theater was screening the same movie because it was just so big. So I do think COVID kind of played a big role in killing that type of I don't know, not routine, but like event almost. Like it kind of killed that type of style of like what you did.
I think it was a combination of that, and then I think people during COVID more so per se just got so comfortable with streaming.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, we're here. And then they kind of came out of it and it's like, oh, we can go out again. But like, why? Like movie theater snacks are expensive. It's going to cost me money to like get the tickets, which, listen, if you're not an AMC Stubs member, this ain't sponsored, but like you should be on AMC Stubs. If you go to the movies once or twice a month, like you're getting your money's worth. So if you like film, definitely just like a heads up, join that. It's super cheap. It's like $20-25 a month. And you can go and see 3 movies a week. It's insane. But anyways, it's just, it kind of, I think, got everybody just so used to being in the house and finding simpler ways of doing things. But I don't know. It's just kind of sad. It takes the, like, joy out of going out and just kind of, importance we put behind it. The excitement. Yeah, like, people just aren't excited to go and do things anymore as much. And so that's kind of sad, man. I feel like people are just losing that adventurous or like just sort of mindset, and of even just doing something as simple as going to the movies or, going out to, watch a live event or anything. So I don't know. I mean, it's different times than obviously the 40s. They really didn't have probably much else to do. They didn't have like, probably flat screen TVs at home, obviously.
Yeah.
So, this was obviously a different time. But it's just crazy to like look back and see like how things were versus how they are now. And, I mean, that even ties into the Vision Pro. Like that's going to change everything from here on out too, man. Like you won't even, like you said, you won't need a TV screen in the future. Like you can all just have Vision Pros and watch the same thing. So yeah, I mean, but different times, man.
Yeah. Normally I wouldn't be that guy, but I'm about to poop my pants. So unless Tyler has,
this is why you do that before the episode, bro.
I didn't need to before the episode.
He's like, it just came about.
It's been an hour.
All right, well then I'll stop yapping. I'll quit the yapping for a minute.
We'll yap more next week. Next week's episode, 2 hours guaranteed.
Next week's episode, the yaps of all yaps.
The Yappertons.
Okay, we're done.
All right. Well, in case you forgot, my name is Gabriel.
I'm Tyler. Make sure to check us out on those social media platforms. We don't necessarily, again, we don't have our pages up as of yet, but I'm assuming they will all be Catching Up Podcast, no G, again, because we're hip and trendy.
We're hip.
And yeah, we'll definitely obviously have those linked below or in the video. So make sure to check us out, subscribe, share, support, tell your homies, tell your parents,
leave us a
tell
review.
your friends. Yeah, come on, leave us a review. Like, what else are you doing with your day, right? You only have time to leave us a review.
I've noticed it's all we always write. People always write reviews when it's bad. You never write reviews when it's good. So
Actually,
let's make that a new habit.
Next time.
Let's make that a new habit.
Yeah, let's make it a new habit. Let's start here
next week
with our podcast.
Yeah,
and then
practice,
and then we can move into other areas of life, right? But us first.
Always.
All right. Well, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.